The first humans probably hunted like this. They'd literally run after the animal for hours until it collapsed from exhaustion. The thing is, animals can't run slowly for extended periods of time. They can run only in short intervals. When an animal sees something dangerous, it runs away, hides, and just stands there, peacefully grazing but staying alert for the next dangerous moment. Meanwhile, a human keeps on running slow, chasing down its prey. Sometimes he'd pursue the animal for days, but eventually a slow-running human would win, having run the animal to exhaustion where it couldn't move. Then he would carry it back to the cave and pour himself some good Italian wine. For some reason, many new runners begin by running in the same way as this animal, in spurts, taking tempo and interval runs, as if they were also being chased by hunters. They don't know how to run slowly, and they don't understand why it is so important. Aloha, sportsmen! Today I'm going to talk about the foundation of any running workout and the base training for any runner, about slow running. Let me explain what it means. In simple terms, it's your individual running pace at which you can comfortably have a conversation. As you see, I have no trouble talking while running. And in this video, I'll teach you how to find your own pace for slow running. Normally, an average resting heart rate is about 60 beats per minute. It means that in 1 minute, your heart makes about 60 contractions. At this rate, your heart muscle doesn't stretch to its full extent. Here's a demonstration. Well, this is a simple floor pump, and this is a full stroke of its piston. Now imagine that this is your heart, and at resting rate, it pumps like this. The piston is neither fully pulled out nor fully pushed in. Now I'm going to set the metronome to 60 beats per minute and show you how your heart pumps blood when it isn't contracting with full force. 60 contractions like this. Why am I using a floor pump? Well, because a heart is basically a pump. It draws in a certain amount of blood and then ejects it. Very similar to how this pump pulls in air and forces it out, like so. As you start running, both your heart rate and the force with which your heart contracts begin to increase. And the reason this happens is that because more muscles are involved as you are running faster, and these muscles need more fuel, and most importantly, they need oxygen. So they send a signal, we need more. And the heart responds by pumping more blood to supply the muscles with everything they need. The heart is now contracting with increased force. However, at about 60% of your maximum heart rate, this force reaches its peak, and then it basically kind of plateaus. So, this is the greatest amount of stretch your heart is capable of. From now on, the only way to increase your cardiac output is for your heart to beat faster, since it has already achieved its maximum stroke volume. Dr. Jack Daniels, the running guru and a legendary coach, says that a sportsman usually hits the sweet spot for slow running at 60% of his maximum heart rate.
As you run harder, your heart rate goes up like that. And your stroke volume, the amount of blood you pump with one beat, in other words, what's the force of contraction of your heart, it also goes up as you run faster, but it plateaus when you're only at about 60% of your maximum heart rate. So it's going to benefit tremendously by not working real hard.
In other words, it makes no sense running at a higher heart rate, since you've already achieved your maximum stroke volume. That means there's really no need to increase your BPM. More than that, at a lower heart rate, you'll be able to run longer. I've tried to apply Jack Daniels' formula to myself, and my maximum heart rate, which I measured just a few months ago, was 192 beats per minute.
Okay, very good.
That is my peak heart rate, meaning it is the most I can reach. Now 60% of this value is 115 beats per minute. But I'm gonna tell you, it's really hard for me to run slowly at this heart rate. It's like I'm half running, half walking. I usually need to raise it a bit more. I'd say it's more comfortable for me to run for an hour or two at an average heart rate of 130 BPM. So, if you want to calculate your ideal or slow run heart rate using Jack Daniel's method, first you need to determine your maximum heart rate. I determined mine during a running test a few months ago. Why test? Because all existing formulae can give you only an approximation. And now I'd like to ask you to do one thing. Please write in the comments and let me know your maximum heart rate and your slow run heart rate. If you know them, of course. Eliud Kipchoge set the official world record at the Berlin Marathon and covered the distance in 2 hours, 1 minute and 39 seconds, which means that his average pace was 2 minutes 55 seconds per kilometer. There's a video on YouTube where people try to run at Eliud Kipchoge's pace on his special treadmill. I also decided to give it a go. 10, it's wearing, 15, warming up, will it get up to 21? Okay, 20 kilometers. You know, it's not that crazy fast. Okay. 157. That's with an acceleration time. It's pretty obvious I'm not Kipchoge, to say the least. We always compare ourselves to superstar athletes, to elite runners. We study their superb technique and take inspiration from their results. We also try to emulate their pace, but in actual fact, that's not what slow running is about. And we all understand that it's a totally different type of running. And regarding slow running, well, it is not about showing better speed. It's not a competition. I'd say you must run at your individual pace so that it does feel slow. And if you're a beginner, if you've just started running, you must listen to your body, focus on breathing properly. See, if you're able to talk while running, try to prevent running out of breath. And I'd recommend that all the beginners watch their heart rate using a running watch or another gadget. If you're already an experienced runner, if you've run long distances, for instance, 10K and so on, here's the formula. If you, for example, can run 10 kilometers in 40 minutes, then your pace is 4 minutes per kilometer. Add 2 minutes to this, and that without a doubt would be your individual slow pace. As for myself, last time I ran 10K was at a running race, which I think was about 3 years ago. And then my average 10K pace was about 4 minutes per kilometer, and I finished in about 40 minutes. Therefore, my slow running pace is 6 minutes per kilometer. I'd like to point out that all these formulae can get you only so far. The most important thing is to turn that switch on your brain to realize that you have to learn to run slow, which I must say took me some time. During my first year of running, each time I went for a slow run, I would try to switch to some kind of tempo run. I'd look at the monitor and say, hey, I've shaved 5 seconds per kilometer off, and that would further boost me. But if you do this, you miss the point. There's no point in trying to run faster during your slow runs, and don't try to compete with others. Like, what's your slow run pace? Oh, 550? Well, I run at 610. That's not the point. The point is to keep that slow pace and to control yourself. It's important that your heart, your blood vessels, and your whole body should stay in the zone where your heart muscle is stretching to its full extent. And now let's take a closer look at the benefits of slow running. Number one is that you're literally stretching your heart muscle. In the process, you're making your heart stronger. If you take regular slow runs, your heart increases in size, which results in a greater stroke volume, and consequently, your whole cardiovascular system gets stronger. As a result, you are better prepared for running in general, including faster runs. That's why it is said that if you want to run fast, you must learn to run slow. Number two, running is good for your mental health. Running at a slow pace gives you the most pleasure. It's almost like a stress relief activity. You're jogging, the birds are chirping, you're talking to a friend, and simply enjoying your run. Number three, slow running helps you to recover after intense workouts. When you have finished an interval or a tempo run, do some slow running in order to speed up your recovery. And number four, this is the pace at which your body burns fat most effectively. And the last thing I want to say for today about slow running, even advanced runners do up to 80% of their running workouts at a slow pace. And if you are just starting, I'd recommend that during those initial workouts, you run slowly the whole time. Focus on keeping an easy pace and try not to speed up. Start by running slow for 15-20 minutes at a time and gradually increase the duration up to 40, 50, 60 minutes. That's all for today. See you next time. Bye.